Miramar of the day. All right, Plane is up for game number 2, another fairly fair plane path. Nothing too crazy on this one. It's a little bit far if you're going to something like La Cocodreria or Torre Ahumada, but other than that, everything is pretty easy to get to now. This time, Chumacera is a little more in place, so I'm kind of curious to see if there's going to be any scuffles over that area.
Oh yes, for those skirmishes will be nice, as don't really see too much contest at the beginning of Miramar, especially. PGG going a little far down the line towards Chumacera, or little towards trying to grab those vehicles, go all the way down the map.
Yeah, Griffin is vying for Valle del Mar with this plane path, so I don't think they're going to mess with OPGG too much. I don't think they're necessarily going to cross paths, although you do have AO and Dumbo kind of going pretty deep into the paint there next to the eastern side of Chumacera, so maybe something will happen there, because actually Tianba is going Valle del Mar, so this is quite interesting. This has been Griffin's home for a long time, but here we go. It's not going to be allowed to go to them, so this time they're actually the ones going Chumacera.
Oh, they go Chumacera, and the circle pops on the opposite side of the map. Oh my, for Tianba, they might actually be looking towards very late rotation, because this is too far. Miramar, you know, if you love Miramar, you do know how long it actually takes to get up there from Valle del Mar.
Yeah, these hard shifts are especially difficult because the fastest way to get somewhere is, of course, by the roads. But Miramar poses a little bit of a different challenge than Erangel, where the terrain is very bumpy and unsteady. So that makes for fun gameplay late situations, because there's a lot of interesting terrain that the teams can utilize in those team fights. But early on, it makes it very challenging for the teams to rotate. You'll often hear teams complain that the thing they don't like about Miramar is the long rotations. Long DD on top of K7. Is this going to be an early knock? Nope. Lock put some good shots into long DD. Going to back him off.
And immediately going back after taking a few shots on his own. Can't really put up too much challenge, as his teammate is nowhere close to him at all.
A Scar and not
SLR?
much else there. Yeah, and SL finds the SLR, but yeah, I think that was really nice turn there by Lock. Long DD at a pretty good angle, and the potential if he can land 2 more of those bullets to get a knock, but it isn't going to be the case.
Yeah, we always have a good talk with those mini and SLRs. Why are you, and a lot of the question was actually Korean players, why are they, okay, let's hear from Genji.
포인트도 1등하고 순위 포인트도 1등을 해가지고 치킨도 많이 뜯고 제가 부족했던 치킨력을 좀 더 보완해서 확실하게 치킨 뜯는 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
It says my chicken ability was lacking a little bit recently, but I bumped that up in a big scale. So with that upgrade, I'll make sure to grab those chicken dinners on my own.
I believe he can do it. I think absolutely this guy, and now that he's been doing some more 3x spraying, my hopes are higher, because he is the best 3x player in the world, I think, for that scope. This guy is so nuts. Now, you were talking about, I actually want to go back to this point, G-Clef.
The mini SLR?
Yes, I think this is really important.
Okay, so a lot of the Korean players actually playing that mini, and the reason why I asked a lot of those players is just, it's simple. It's down straight simple, because they did not get to find an SLR. SLR is simply the best gun out there for a lot of those team players, but they're having mini because they simply just could not find it.
That's pretty interesting to me. I theorized that maybe the Mini was more popular in the Korean region, not because they couldn't find them, but because some players were actually prioritizing the long-range shooting ability that the Mini has with that high bullet velocity. Yes. Of course, it's a nice backup to the SLR, but it is really interesting for me to hear that it turns out it's just because they couldn't find an SLR.
It is what it is. Of course, with the 7s, you just have to bring it down. You can't. Some players do like to have the Mini, but not as much after that many patch with the damage changes. I think you just have to go with that SLR when you find it.
Oopsie daisies there for a VLG. A little bit of a mishap with the vehicles. There is your next code, everybody. Last
Put him in.
PUBG. It almost says last PUBG.
PUBG 5
really
TMX.
Close. That's really funny. There you go. Pop that code in. There's only a limited number of them, so you got to be fast. Open up your game client. I believe you can still get them on console as well as we did in PCS2. So go ahead and throw those down. Get yourselves some pick'em codes. See if you can guess who's going to win it. You can hold off on those pick'ems if you want. You can wait a little bit and then pick before the end, which you like. Personally, I like to make my picks before the event. So
You just be bold.
I like to
bold
be
about
bold.
your favorite team.
Yeah, that's definitely me. Bold.
Or, of course, if you are looking for more points, then you should totally hold them and grab those maximum points. Also, there's also versus this team versus that. You can also go for those challenge. If you want to get more points, look for your chances, then
that one's tough this time.
It's very tough.
They pick some good ones, man. They pick some really good ones. Like, even OGN versus 4AM is tough. Like, all those face-off matchups that they picked are really hard because they basically put all the best teams up against each other. So I can't wait to see. Even Infantry versus Gen G, it's like, oh my god.
It's a lot of teams. I actually took about 30 minutes to finish them. It took me a long time. And I wasn't eating dinner while I was doing that, too. It just gave me a lot of brain fart in the middle. And let's see the rotations, though. Ooh, some really big challenges upcoming for us. Also for Gen G, as they do have to go all the way up. But Tiamba, they go to the south road. Going towards that Los Leones might be a good challenge again, because that eastern side will be packed up by the next circle.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if anybody tries to set up a rotation trap on that east road. Every once in a while, somebody is like, yeah, this east road, nobody else is coming across it. We're holding the line. And Detonation Gaming White is kind of inching their way forward right now along that eastern road at the very bottom of it, of the current circle. But I don't know if they do it. Detonation Gaming White doesn't really set up traps very often. It's not really their MO. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried it here. They have a good opportunity, but I'm not expecting it.
Yeah, Japanese teams on Miramar, they don't do it as much. In Erangel, they do it a lot more often, especially Sun Sisters. Not expected to see as when we have a central circle, maybe when it's easier rotation to go into the first phase or even to the second phase, but not here, not right now, as you have to go all the way up, maybe even all the way to Tierra Branca, because we have a lot of teams near that El Azahar, and going up from that gas station onto the left into that mountain will be very tough for all teams.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of interesting kind of jockeying for position going on here with OG and Entis and Infantry. OG and Entis has the inside track. They're closer to the center of the circle, but Infantry has been mirroring them and is kind of waiting for Entis to pull off. And then it looks like they're either going to set up shop or maybe swing in a little bit if they can find room. But for now, they've kind of halted their movement on that very, very far eastern compound that's along the dirt path road. So for Entis, I think just a little bit faster rotation because they are a little bit further north gives them this slight edge in this kind of positioning battle.
Yeah, and Infantry right towards the east, where you can't really even find them unless you directly bump into them. Infantry, I think they're just looking for a second circle to go in all the way north towards Campo Militar and then have a big rotation from the northern side, as no one else is actually there. Ogen might be going in for a challenge, but I don't think they should.
Nope.
This early of a game?
Nope, not against that team. That's one team where I'm like, if you catch them alone, sure, absolutely, go and try to get a pick. If all of Infantry is there, no way, Jose. No way. I think Entis learned their lesson at the church.
Yes.
They during PCS2, as Sun Sister did the event before, that you do not mess with Infantry early game. They are really, really tough in those team fights.
Yeah, those moments, you just have to remember forever until you go down. And as we have most of the teams joining in, OPGG still all the way out there. Surprisingly, Griffin actually already going into the circle. Was expecting them to actually go into San Martin side, and this is a very northern circle popping. Wow. Again.
The hard shifts have been absolutely brutal for these players. This is another incredibly difficult circle to manage. Now, the good news is at least half this circle isn't water. There is a lot of playable stuff inside of this circle, including 3 big cities. So you have room to set up this early on. Oh, there's another vehicle accident. PUBG driving. It's hard, man. No doubt about it. But these teams are faced with I want to say it's not easier, it's just different. Because there is a lot of cities, there is a lot of space, but if you don't want to be in those cities, G-Clef, because it sucks to get out of them.
Yeah, especially towards Cruz del Valle, towards the east and the west, there are some hills, but sometimes it's not high enough to actually get you that much cover. So these teams will have to use a lot of their vehicles to block those angles.
the west side of Cruz de Valle is dead man's land. There is not much to work with there. And that hill to the east, like you mentioned, is pretty exposed. There is at least it's a hill, but you can't get up it. Well, it's going to take a lot of luck to get up it. I shouldn't say you can't. Players tend to find ways, but it is very, very hard to do. And everybody's kind of making some interesting rotations. You've got a couple teams already centered up with MCG and New Happy already dead center. Pero as well. So some of the Chinese teams have already found themselves some homes close to the center. Everybody else is kind of either on the outside or making their way towards the center a little more cautiously, making sure they do their recon and don't suffer any losses early.
This is another position from 4 a.m. This is not the highest ground, as there are some really high up hills right towards the eastern side. But sometimes you can get those rotations just jumping into that city. That can be the kill. I think that's exactly what 4AM is going for today, especially in match 1 and 2. They're trying to go for that easy pickoffs when they're faced off against some easier rotations coming out from any team. So far, none of the teams in this tournament is trying those rotations, always going for the harder to predict rotations coming out in Miramar.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting to watch. The first game was a little more wild early on, but I think that is due to the nature of the circle. This one much more standard for Asian PUBG. Things are kind of slow to begin. You have 64 alive through usually the first 2 or 3 phases. Maybe there's 1 or 2 people who die in rotation, but that's about it. And that is definitely the case here so far, as Pio has set up to see what's going on with Global Esports XSET, as they have spread out pretty wide on the western edge of this current circle.
Yeah, Genji, I thought they would come directly into 4 a.m., but decided to go towards the water treatment all the way towards, not towards the new Paradise on the new Miramar map, but still going towards the eastern side now. They should be okay.
Uh-oh.
But not Pio.
SpaghettiOs. That's not good. Mao Ye is going to find an easy knock and flush. And this is, as much as I love Genji's style with these 1-3s, this has been a problem for Pio from time to time where he overextends. In this case, he revealed his location, and GEX pounces and makes him pay for it. Now, Detonation Gaming White, on the other hand, way over on the eastern edge as they worked up that road. They continued all the way up the most eastern road, and now Tianba's breathing down their backside.
It is actually a really great spot. Right in front, you can be exposed, so you need to get out from here, but there was a small dump right there that you could have stayed, and I think they were going to be challenged if they actually ended up staying there, but because of the Western Circle again popping, good for a lot of these teams. But look how contested it is near 4 a.m. as they might be faced off against 3 potentially different teams right in the center.
Yeah, 4 a.m. has a lot of work to do potentially to keep other teams from rotating ahead of them. And already you can see Pero has gotten the edge. They found a bit of an angle, but there is going to be one knock. That should be a finish. I tell you what, the more I've been watching Godby play recently, especially in the Weibo Cup, he's been getting better and better for 4 Angry Men.
So let me tell you about Godby. He has been a big roller coaster for the team, and oftentimes, because of Godby's play, the entire team going downhill oftentimes, especially in PCS. But this time, he looks different. He looks to be more of a team-style player, and that might just be enough for 4 a.m., what they exactly needed in these global stages.
And I feel like his individual mechanics have gotten better. I've seen him play, and he looks cleaner, he looks crisper. Indigo gets another kill and a knock, this time on Infantry. The guy is absolutely cracked. 9 trying to make Tianba the side seat swap. Not good for Ming. And it's going to be Longsker to finish the job. 9 there to help a little bit. And M200 says, no, that ain't good. I ain't doing that anymore. I'm really interested about Tianba here. Lurena, his vehicle got really beat up by Detonation Gaming White. I want to know what kind of role that's going to play going forward for Tianba. That Murado was I think about 1/3 health left. So you don't want to drive that forward, because you do have that extra timing now before the vehicle blows up, but it can be quite dangerous anyway.
Let's see the exact position of Tianba, because they're getting challenged by several different teams. Afrika Freaks now trying to go past them without taking too much damage. As Tianba, they sort of lost position because Entus actually got a faster rotation in. As Circle is coming down, they do have to move in.
This is a little disconcerting for me, because I'm used to Detonation Gaming White being the color of blue that Afrika is this time around. So I'm like watching him, and I'm thinking that that's Detonation Gaming. It's actually Afrika that's driving by Tianba here, but Indeed, it is a Freak of Freaks. If you're like me and you've been watching PSCS3 Asia all year, you know that Detonation Gaming White, when they played earlier, they were more that blue.
Tiamba's about to run into OG Enentus directly.
Oh, that's a problem. OG Enentus has a blockade set up. I don't think they're going to let Tianba get through easily. EJ, the shot caller and the top fragger for the Freak of Freaks. This guy has really stepped up big in Korea and internationally. There's that first knock on M200. This is phase 3 blue,
That's
about to be
bad
phase
news.
4. They're going to try to get the res off just in time. There's just enough seconds left for them to do it. I think maybe. I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be able to get that off in time. Now, Tianba's going to go for it anyway, but Entis has thoroughly dug in to prevent Tianba from going anywhere.
And another pretty nice circle in Tiamba.
Yeah, it's not. I figured once phase 4 popped, there wasn't enough time.
Because of that knock, they were also forced out of the circle even further onto the other side of the mountain. OG Enentus keeping them outside. They're not going to let anyone in. Oh, look at, there's another knock, as they're not going to give points to OG Enentus. They might be challenging and regretting those decisions by the end of the tournament. So they might actually just lose a lot of members outside of circle now.
Yeah, Tianba is poking and prodding, but there is nothing available, no veins to find here for them to get into in this particular circle, so they're going to have to get a little bit more information. Chew through some more meds is Lurena, but I'm not expecting them to be able to repeat their game-winning performance from game number 1.
As he has some meds to heal back up, and OGN is keeping control. As Griffin is challenging them directly now, Minsung trying to get that frag in directly into KO. That's a good shot in the first knock onto OGN. They might actually retreat. Sungjan's right behind them. Might not be the best time to come for the res.
Nope, there's no way, Jose. And Juanita steps up quick and easy. Gonna get the finish onto Kale. OGN just not in a good position here, G-Clef, to hold off Genji's movement. Genji hit them on their weak side because they were so busy fanning out to cover Tianba.
Yeah, OGN right now also, Rena actually firing back onto Entus, saying, okay, you kicked us out, we're getting at least a point on you.
Yeah, Zhao Yang, the only one left for infantry here. They have suffered a lot of damage. Looks like they might be losing members. Longsker very, very weak. I don't expect anyone's going to be able to get to him. Zhao Yang prioritizing 9 here. Longsker's a bit too far away, but I don't expect the Freaks to allow this to go on much longer. EJ's got to be careful. They're right inside of there. He's just running right at it. He's got Zhao Yang comes up and over, but isn't able to finish the job. Gets a couple, but at the end of the day, Afrika is going to be able to survive and should be able to get these reses, I believe.
Should be easy, good enough. In a pretty good position after the fight. They should be getting all those other resources back from the dead bodies of 50 right there. Good fight from Afrika. They're going to get all the reses back here, but the fight is on 4 a.m. and they are looking to go into the circle, but it looks a little tough.
Yeah, this is not a bad setup here for New Happy, but 4 a.m. doing a good job kind of counter-maneuvering around the side of this hill, trying to get better angles on to New Happy. Now the problem is New Happy can get pretty deep inside of the brick building. It's pretty hard to get even throwables in there sometimes. Now you do see players, they found really unique and interesting angles to get those grenades deep into this building, and we'll see if they're able to do that. Now Forever, that's just a smoke, I believe, that came out of his hands, and that one is just put in front of the door to allow 4 a.m. to try to breach this building. And meanwhile, Entis is under duress. Under is extremely hurt. 2 Heart. Minsung's going to pop over and find him. No way. Entis is out early. Not as good of a start here in game number 2.
Yep, Entis and Tiamba just having too much of a fight, as we will see some action down here with Genji. Sun Sisters again putting up a fight. After match 1, they're going against each other again here.
Crazy Sam is no joke. Crazy Sam is one of the best players in Japan. Him and Machao are basically 1 and 2.
I think so too.
And Crazy Sam is as good as anybody in this lobby. And when you try to go toe-to-toe with him, he can make you pay, as we saw there with Genji. Even though Genji is amazing, top to bottom, that team is very, very good. This is a DBS here for Loki.
Well, if you're into these short-range shots, then you do have to just go and point-click and get the kills, as they do still have to go get out of the city and maybe look for a vehicle, go all the way down, but it's going to be easy shots for VLG to grab those runs out of the city. This is crazy.
This is crazy.
No
I wonder
kills.
if they know that Lycanon is here.
I don't think so, because Gapi actually ran around the side.
Now they know. He's shooting bullets. Now he wakes up. Loki does get the finish onto Machao with that DBS, but Machao is already knocked, so that's an easy point. Lycanon flanking up, trying to get inside the house, give himself a little bit more cover, does some decent damage. Godby now going to be knocked. It's actually 2 heart from Griffin from afar. So 4 a.m., this maneuver is taking a little bit too long because now Griffin has been hearing this and wants to get involved. And now K7 too.
K7 wants a taste of the sweetness here as 4 a.m. Both teams actually might just go down without making any escapes. So before that, after seeing these kind of knocks, Griffin actually made an entry already into the circle forever, trying to get some line of sight because they don't have too much time. They know they have to finish the fight right now and dive into the next phase.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's only 1:30 left, and that goes by really fast in the heat of the moment with the way these fights tend to play out. That grenade takes a favorable bounce. I thought that was going to get the knock. Yeah, he jumped into it. Tries to do a soccer move and headbutt the grenade, but you don't want to do that here. Another good one from Forever. Forever's going to finish like non, but it is going to be Lou who falls to Savior from afar. So continually, other teams are putting damage into this fight and really tearing through both New Happy and 4 a.m. Now, Crazy 112 is able to get to Godby in time for the res. New Happy loses like non earlier. This is really interesting. Now it's a 3-on-3, it looks like.
Yeah, with that res still getting a lot of action, but Griffin still keeping an eye on the surviving teams. The fight is here, but the war may not be won by any of these teams here.
No, I think this is bad news. Whoever comes out of this alive is probably just going to die to either Griffin or GEX, although they might luck out that GEX and Griffin fight. We'll see. Good Forever. God, he's so good. We know it. We've known it for years. Forever is nuts. This grenade, if it counts, is going to be good enough.
Oh!
The grenades are money. That is multiple grenades for Forever, getting the job done, and New Happy goes down. It was long, but it was methodical. 4 a.m. is able to get the job done and dusted, but now they've got to go through this barricade that GEX and Griffin have set up.
I think they'll be safe for the next few minutes, but once they escape from the safe spot, I think MCG and also Griffin's going to just bring the rain down directly on them. As 4 a.m., I think they used a lot of their resources to get back up there too.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of grenades had to be used, a lot of throwables coming out from 4 a.m., particular Forever, but Forever able to make them count. And that's really important to get those points where you can. And it's nice if you can do it with your throwables, because that means you're really on point.
Yeah,
you got that arm, you got that laser cannon there.
You have to have a different sense of just reading the time exactly after popping that pin. 1, 2. You got to count perfectly and go for that shot. Forever, what a god. 5 kills for himself only.
He's so good. He's so good. Now
Godby's still alive.
Godby is playing point here. That's a decent grenade. Catches the back of Forever, but doesn't do a boatload of damage. A little bit. Griffin here still holding fast. And somehow, some way, 4 a.m. is fighting tooth and nail to get in.
And Griffin can't really reach out to 4 a.m. because they have MCG on their back. If they extend a little too far and if they go up those small hills, they might actually be shut down from MCG. So 4 a.m. they might have some chance. If there's a single knock on Griffin from MCG, then there's the time for push, but not right now.
Yeah, they're waiting. They're trying to buy as much time as possible. Hopefully hold on and let another team get involved in the fight. Yanli is going to be knocked. Buyo, who's going down as well. 4 Angry Men might just be out dueling a couple different teams. It's GEX and K7 from Chinese Taipei on their western flank, and they are putting them into the ground. Forever going to force himself up into the smoke, is able to get himself prone there. Godby has gone down, 112 has gone down, and now things might be too much to handle for 4 a.m.
As they are forced in, has to pick fight against Griffin. Just keeping the line together as this is going to be a hard push for 4 a.m. I think they will just be going down in the next few minutes as MCG is keep getting those easy kill points, just shooting down from those easy shots into the compound. They're extending out into the side of the circle now, trying to get that 100% chicken dinner.
I like this move by 2Art. He almost steals the kill onto Godby, but it's going to be Tank who's going to get it in time for MCG. That's going to force 2Art back. There's some shots coming across his bow from GEX. Forever the only one up, but 5 kills already. A huge round for Forever. 6 kills total for 4 a.m. Now GX is pushed into Griffin. They're trying to third party this. They don't really have many other options available. That stun right in the face of CC. Gonna force him to go prone behind the cactus. Meansung now wrapping to the side. Some throwables from GEX in his back. Doesn't really catch him, and Griffin is able to regroup.
Yeah, Griffin, they're stuck right in the middle, so they don't want to give any knocks to any other team, giving another chance for Forever to stay or MCG to extend from those compounds into them. And that's exactly going to be a GX, but going down, they were the ones challenging.
Look at Summer. He's going to extend anyway,
Yes.
G-Clef. He's got all the confidence in the world right now. We've seen this guy in the big stages before. We know he's quite good. Now, 2art gets some more damage into Forever, but somehow, some way, Forever is still alive. I don't know how he has any vests or helmets left. He's taken so much damage here, but I guess the bodies of his fallen comrades are there for him to pick up more utility off of, so that's probably how that's going. But you can see Asura, his vest is broken. Forever gonna take down GEX basically by himself with some help, of course, from some of the other teams. But my God, how long can this man do this?
And Griffins can't stand anymore. They have to bring this member down. They've been stuck because of this guy for the last 3-4 minutes. And knowing that MCG is coming around the back, but they sort of have the confidence, but they're not sure 100% because Forever is a one-man army.
Well, I like the idea here by Griffin. Patient, but steady. They're kind of waiting for Forever to make a mistake. Now as Asura pops around the side, Forever is able to get down behind this hill, keep his head just enough below it, but there is no more room to breathe.
And he's in top 4.
He's down. He is so good. That is crazy good play from Forever, guys. That guy is just an absolute delight to watch. What a play from him to come through here. Now it is going to be VLG, MCG, and Griffin coming down. And VLG and MCG already on top of the leaderboard are going to extend those points atop the other teams.
Yeah, this one's going to be very tough as MCG, because they were in that compound for such a long time, they do still have the vehicle, of course, without a tire there, but still good enough when you can have that as a body, blocking those shots, at least from a side when you have this one versus one situation. Of course, 4v4v3. Griffin, I think they still do have a chance because they don't really have that many resources because of Forever. But they know that there's going to be a big contest between BLG and MCG from the top.
Yeah, and I like the maneuver here by MCG, but I'm worried that it might have been a little too soon to try to go for this middle spot because Ghibli saw it, and now they're trying to find the flank onto Summer. If they can bop Summer out of there, that makes things a lot more challenging for MCG. They've also got a good angle on the other members of MCG trying to regroup with Summer here. So VRLU Ghibli going to come down. They're going to need some good shots, but I tell you what, this team is stacked.
Okay, VLG, do you think they're being too aggressive right now, having the 2-2 split, leaving 2 for one team, leaving the other 2 against the other team? Of course, they have the circle, they have the control over the map right now. But if they get one knock from either Griffin or MCG, they might actually go down 3rd.
Yeah, it's a risky play here from VLG.
Oh,
There's that knock. There's that knock from 2art onto Akari.
MCG's gonna push.
Spear does have an AWM. 2art looking good, trying to finish the job. Doesn't quite get enough shots to land with that chunky SKS. Just comes up short. It hits hard, but it's hard to make those bullets land sometimes. You hear players complain about it all the oh my God, Asura. Rest in peace, Lindu. Puts him down quick, but the return fire is good to keep him. A good grenade from Tank. He's going to find Asura. Evil Lee has an AWM of his own. He finds the knock onto Meadsung, but there is 2art here. One of the best fraggers in Korea. Lambu helping out as MCG is getting torn apart between the 2 South Korean teams.
And VLG has total control on the next circle. MCG and Griffin not having too much members left. I think this is just it. Griffin must have thought, okay, VLG's got such a favorable condition to get that chicken dinner. We just have to challenge into that 2nd place spot. It's not, might be able to. At the end, 2art is a pretty good shooter. The SKS helping him out a little bit.
I mean, he's so good. He's able to do more damage than he takes. Akari's going to get the knock onto Evil Lee. So the AWM in the hands of Evil Lee right now on the ground. And 2art tries to run to get to Asura, but is going to get cut off by Deva. So Griffin out in 3rd place. Now it's a 4v2 for MCG, and it is looking dire. Ling goes down, Tank goes down. It's going to be VLG. Ghibli takes game number 2 with a big 14-kill chicken dinner.
14 kills. Look how happy they're about to jump out of their scene and destroy some chairs.
Lambu's just like, yeah, that was cool, good job. He's up in the top left there, just kind of breathing a sigh of relief. The rest of the team losing their mind.